Welcome to Pensar Basketball Live. Please hit the like on your way in. I would very much appreciate it. And it's over. It's over. The Olympics are over for basketball, and Team USA goes home with the gold. Steph Curry, was he robbed? Was KD robbed? Respect LeBron James. All right. One of the greatest players of all time, winning the Olympics MVP. Carried Team USA through some early difficulties, and we're going to talk about those difficulties today and how they pertain. We're going to talk about Team USA's difficulties and how they pertain to what is the future of Team USA. Now, if you grew up in North America, you know what the world map looks like. You know how big North America is. But dig a little, and this is perhaps a more accurate map of the world. And we need to talk about the reality and the distorted reality of how we perceive America over everything, American culture as being the predominant, cultural influence over the world. And maybe that's not the greatest thing in the world, right? We need to talk about the rise of European basketball. We need to talk about the history of European basketball. We need to talk about a lot of things on this live. And I'd love to have a discussion with you. So there is a call-in link in the description below. If you want to talk about this, we can talk about this. But I believe, and I'm going to say it right in the opening of this, that I do not believe that Team USA won gold. And to me, just for my sake and how I'm going to remember this Olympic tournament, I'm going to remember this Olympic tournament as the year that the Team USA, no excuses, you fielded an incredible roster, one of the greatest Team USAs of all time. Some would argue the greatest Team USA of all time. And I don't believe that they won gold. I will never believe that they won gold. I watched Serbia versus USA, and I didn't watch it again for 2 days because I couldn't bring myself to watch it because I felt that the more I watched it, the more I slowed it down, especially that late third, early fourth when USA rallied back, that I was going to go back and I was going to see things that I didn't want to see. I was going to see Kevin Durant stepping out of bounds and not be called 2 feet away from the referee. I was going to see LeBron James traveling and not be called. I was going to see Joel Embiid traveling, not be called. I was going to see a lot of holding and a lot of fouls that were not called against USA, against Serbia. And frankly, when you really consider it, basketball is a zero sum game. It does matter who you face. It's also a game of attrition. When one team works so hard and the other team doesn't work nearly as hard, the team that works hard can often climb to a pretty sizable advantage early in the game. And what can often happen, unfortunately, is that that team can slowly start to run out of gas. And there's an emotional component to when you feel like you're playing 8 on 5. And I don't believe that those referees were even. I don't think that it's remotely possible that any person, no matter who you support, no matter what country you're affiliated with, if you're the biggest American fan, go back and watch that game and tell me Nikola Jokic deserved 4 free throws. Be for real. Now, I did not think in a million years that France was going to beat USA today. I thought that the USA team would go out on a high note and that France would get smoked. I felt that this could be a 20 to 30 point blowout. It wasn't. It wasn't a 20 to 30 point blowout. And regardless of the fact that the final score reads 98 to 87, it was a lot of self implosion on France's part. I won't blame the refereeing on this one. I do believe USA was a much better team than France. You could argue Team USA was the best team in this entire tournament, but I'm going to argue that the world is catching up and that this gap between what we talk about between the USA and the world, Canada and USA, France, USA, Serbia, USA, Slovenia, USA, all these countries, African nations in the USA, this gap has been shrinking for a very long time. And it's not surprising to me that the 3 players who really carried Team USA through these tough waters were Steph Curry, north of 35, Kevin Durant, north of 35, and LeBron James, damn near 40. Because when it comes to FIBA, you need grown men. This is a grown men game. No more cheap fouls, no more refs baiting. This is not sports entertainment. When it gets down to FIBA, when it gets down to world versus world, national pride on the line, countries on the line, medals on the line, It's not about sports entertainment. Sorry, NBA. It's not. It's not about this. It's not about NBA. It is about basketball IQ. It is about how quickly you map the floor. It's about costly errors. It's not about bailout fouls. Sorry, James Harden. It's not. It's about finishing through contact. It is about the will of the competitor. And that's why I think that it is pretty tragic what happened to Serbia. Now, to those of you who follow the channel, you know I'm American, who was born in Yugoslavia, Serbia, Yugoslavia, who lived in America and now lives in Canada. So this is confusing for me, right? I also lived in France for a little while. So, I have at times in my life rooted for all four. Am I the Joel Embiid of content creators? No. When it comes to anti-American sentiments, I realize that there are very many anti-American sentiments around the world, right? Americans are arrogant, Americans are this, Americans are that. And generally speaking, I don't I don't pour any gasoline on any of that, right? But man, it's hard to ignore sometimes how embarrassing the behavior of the United States can be, especially when put on the international stage. How many times the condescension and the arrogance of American athletes when paired against the relative humility of other countries, and how often that can look so bad for the United States. The future of American basketball as it pertains to the younger generation, the generation that spent a great deal of this time warming the bench, guys like Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, guys who were not on the team, Tyrese Maxey, Scotty Barnes, Paolo Banchero, guys who frankly will be future staples of this team, Cooper Flag, AJ Devonsa. Do I believe that that team or that theoretical team with Anthony Edwards is going to have the poise, maturity, physical toughness to beat out some of these teams in the future? Well, they should be favored and they will continue to be favored. But in a single game tournament, in an age where three-point shooting is such a huge variable and any team can get hot at any time without the referees, in a single game, when composure can fall apart in 5 minutes. I mean, look at what happened to France today. Turnover, turnover, turnover. Boom, boom, boom. Over. Missed free throw. Over. You were within three, and then boom, it's 10 points. It's done. Steph Curry, 3-3-3. What if those 3-pointers don't go in? There's no guarantees. He's the greatest shooter of all time. Yes, he is. There's no guarantee those 3-point shots go in. What if they don't go in? What if Yabusele hits that free throw? What if that backdoor pass to Lasort isn't a turnover? It wasn't that far. Basketball is a game of inches. So is football. So is every single sport. It's so funny when we watch the Olympics, how beautiful it is to watch these competitors. Talked about it on the previous live, how amazing it is that someone could train their whole life for 5 seconds. But it is a game of inches. One slip, you lose. No medal, right? Basketball is a game of inches as well. It's a game of inches. It's a game of minutes. It's a game of possessions, turnovers, hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of random events happen on the basketball court between 10 men at a time. And my big beef is when it's not 10 men, but rather 13 men that determine the outcome of a basketball game. Yes, I'm talking about the three referees. So, the future of USA basketball is in trouble, in my opinion. It is. It does not matter that the vast majority of the best players in the world will always be American. It will be that way for most of my lifetime, if not all of my lifetime. Especially if you consider, will America continue to have the largest number? Like if we were to take America versus Serbia, a nation of 300 plus million versus a nation of 6.6 million. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But consider where we are with tennis, where Novak Djokovic is the greatest tennis player of all time. He comes from a country of 6.6 million. There's no guarantee that Shea Gilgeous-Alexander won't be the best player in the world in 3 years. There's no guarantee against it. There's no guarantee for it. And there's no guarantee that if we look down at the NBA in 2000 and 2030, 2032, 2034, that if we take stock of the top 50 players in the NBA, there's no guarantee, there's no guarantee that the majority of those players will be American. There's no guarantee for that. With the rise of Victor Wembanyama, with the rise of Africa basketball, with the rise of, just French basketball, Australian basketball, all the great players coming out of this, Canada basketball, there's no guarantee. What is almost certain is that there will be no single country. There's no Slovenia, no Serbia, no Russia, no Germany that is going to have more great athletes. But can one nation put together a group of 7 players that playing together in a single game can beat the United States? I believe that day is coming. That day will come. There will be another 2004. And don't be surprised if you're young enough right now that in your lifetime, if there is a team that goes into a matchup with the United States and it's not that far off. So, how did we get here? How did the team with the monumental head start fall behind? The same way anyone falls behind. It's the same way your favorite content creator who was getting 180,000 views per video 5 years ago is getting 25,000 views now. You fell off. It happens. Up, down, up. It happens. It happens. That happens. It's just you get complacent, you get lazy, you get too stuck in your ways. A little bit of luck floats the other way. I want to defeat this notion that European basketball has just arrived. That is just coming. Oh, the world is getting so much better. No, that's not true. That's not true. These African prospects have been there forever. They just weren't discovered, they weren't developed. These greats in Europe, the Yabuselis of the world, the Lasorts of the world, have been there for ages. We're just putting them on a magnifying glass. Social media is making it way more popular. I encourage every one of you to watch EuroLeague basketball a little bit more often. And I think you will see plenty of players that could easily be in the NBA. Easily. Now I spent a good deal of my time over the last 5 days arguing that Arvydas Sabonis in the 80s and 90s was one of the 15 greatest players of all time. I've spent a great deal of time arguing that. And I'm working on 2 videos right now to advance the cause. One is for Arvydas Sabonis and one is for Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes on the physics of Scotty for the Raptor fans in this community. And then the other one will be for Sabonis. So we will talk about that. Your goat, I'm going to get to you in about 5 minutes. Hang tight, buddy. I'm just going to get to the box score here. Just give me one sec here. So this is the box score. Huge game for Victor Wembanyama, 26 points. Man is not shy. The man is not shy. He let him rip, pull up threes, no problem. 26, 27 feet, didn't care. I mean, the future is very bright for France, for Team USA. And I want to tell you that my moment of the tournament as it pertains to teams other than Serbia was frankly watching Kevin Durant afterwards talking with Victor Wembanyama. Now, it's been no secret that Wemby looked up to to Kevin Durant. It's no secret that Kevin Durant has never shied away from really showing the next generation flowers. He did the same thing with Scotty Barnes, and kudos to the guy. He took a lot of shit on Twitter yesterday, and I'll talk about that towards the end. Toxic fandom, weather players, etc. I think there's something to be talked about with this, but kudos to Team France. Kudos to Team France. And I just want to point out, Joel Embiid, what the hell, man? Imagine being in the middle of a run, the band of brothers, and you get a quote from one of your teammates saying, "Yeah, in 2028, I might be playing for Cameroon." Bro, standing over Rudy Gobert's head like that, looking like, what did I do? Joel Embiid is honestly everything that's wrong with basketball in a million words. Like he is everything that's wrong with Twitter, everything that's wrong with everything. It's crazy to me that this guy does not know why people don't like him. There's a very good reason people don't like him, and it's for valid reason. Okay. France, I mean, just came up a little bit short, right? If I had told you that France was going to win, I think you would have assumed that Rudy Gobert would have had a huge part to do with that. Rudy Gobert didn't play that much in this game. He didn't play much in the last 3 games. But I think this entire tournament was a huge win for international basketball. And to those people who say, "Hey, international basketball is here," guys like Cordinier, guys like Yabusele, guys like Lesort, guys like this who have frankly been overlooked by NBA media, and people just look at them and they look at their NBA averages. A guy like Yabusele, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Yabusele had averages of two points and 1 rebound, 1.3 rebounds in the NBA in 66 games. If I tried to tell you that Yabusele was better than Alex Sarr right now, I think most people would call me crazy. But tell me that he's not. Of course he is. And he's better than Bronny James. And he's better than probably 89 to 92% of the guys who were drafted in this current draft. But he's a 28-year-old who plays across. Did you see what Bruno Caboclo, or Brazilian beast, the Brazilian KD, did to Team USA, right? Can you use that as anecdotal proof that the best basketball players in the world are not necessarily all playing in the United States? Of course they're not. There are over 1,000 players, in my opinion, in this world who could play in the NBA. Over 1,000, including some in college, some overseas, some in prison, some retired, some medically retired, some in the NBA, some in the G League. Sum total, there's about 1,000. There's only 450 spots. There's only 450 jobs. There's plenty of guys who played for Olympiacos over the last few years. That certainly would not be the worst player in the NBA. 100%. They would be top 300, top 250. So, yes, when I say something like Bronny James is not a top 1,000 player in this world, believe me, he's not. He's not even close. So, Team USA, we got a complete team effort. I think Bam Adebayo looked pretty good down the stretch. I think he was pretty good. He played a lot of minutes down the stretch. I think Joel Embiid, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis is a cheat code. It's like a crazy ass, it's an absolutely insane center rotation. And I think they're very lucky that they had Bam and Anthony Davis. I think they needed them. I think they're very lucky they had a Drew Holiday to put that pressure on the perimeter players, because it seemed like LeBron and Steph Curry and at times Devin Booker, there was a lot of defensive compromise there for Team USA. In terms of, France, of course, they were quarterbacked by Yabusele and Victor Wembanyama. I think, Nando De Colo, former Raptor Nando De Colo, shout outs to Nando, played a lot of minutes down the stretch. This will be his final Olympic run. And you know what? Congrats to France finishing with silver. Congrats to Serbia finishing with bronze. But that bronze shines like gold to me. Okay. Now, there's I want to shout out 2 quick quotes before I get to your goat, and then of course I just want to remind y'all that it's link is in the description. If you want to call in, you can call in and have a conversation. 2 quotes. So the first quote was actually from a movie that my girlfriend and I watched the other day. We were just randomly scrolling through, I think, Netflix, and we came across a movie called The Substitute, and I was like, this movie looks really bad. Let's watch it. And it was. But there was a quote in that movie that really struck with me, which was, power projected, or sorry, power perceived is power achieved. I had never heard this quote before, but I said it at least 10 times over and over. And I really I need to etch that somewhere, because it is so true. The second quote comes from one of my favorite books, which is Atomic Habits, which is, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. 100%. Okay, let's bring on your goat. And again, link in the description. If you want to call in, call in. You don't need to have some software or anything. It's just link on your phone. Just find a quiet place. Let's talk. Your goat, what's up, man?
Yo, what's good, bro? How you doing, bro?
I'm good.
Yeah, today was a great day for international basketball. I like the USA team a lot because I feel like they have a lot of star power, but they are balanced in their depth. The amount of people, the amount of players that they got in their bench, is incredible. Their star power, but I love international basketball, and I feel like it was great, the effort from teams like Serbia, teams like Canada, teams like France in this competition is absolutely incredible. I feel like now we're gonna witness a change very soon in Europe specifically, because I mean, as we all know, a lot of European basketball teams are first. Well, they come from soccer teams, football, soccer teams, and but now teams like Real Madrid, teams like Barcelona, Fenerbahce, they're gonna start increasing a lot their financial, the finance in their basketball teams, in there trying to look for talent, especially in Africa or in Europe. So I feel like it's gonna be very competitive in the EuroLeague. They're gonna start exporting a lot more players to USA. That's a plan that they have had. Start exporting more European, African talent towards the USA, so the national teams can grow. I, I feel like I really like Lesort and Yabusele. Both of them played in the EuroLeague final, which was Panathinaikos versus Real Madrid, which was a great match. I think you guys should watch it. It was fantastic, and both of those players I really like. My boy called me when Yabusele dunked on LeBron. He was like, "Oh, the Pistons are gonna sign him up for sure." And I'm like, "All right, bro, like chill, all right, no." Now everyone's getting linked with the Pistons now, but yeah, overall, great tournament from the international, European, even African teams. International basketball is looking really bright and really futuristic, in my opinion.
Absolutely. What do you think of Jason Tatum not playing?
Oh, I mean, listen, like it's kind of tough with this USA team because you're gonna have to take some risks in terms of balance, in terms of like how the style of play is going to be. But I feel like listen, like we need to let Jason Tatum play a little bit more. Just a little bit, like give
Over
him
who
more.
though? Who's he playing over? Is he playing over LeBron? Is he playing over Anthony Davis? Is he playing over Anthony Edwards? Who's he playing over?
No, I don't think necessarily he has to play over all of these guys. Just put him in some spots where it's open.
It's only 5 guys on the team,
I know
bro.
it's tough. I know it's tough. Like I don't have a problem that he didn't play. I just would have liked to see him a bit more. I wanted to see a little bit more what he could have maybe brought to this USA team. But I for
Does
sure.
it, in your opinion, challenge the notion that Jason Tatum is the best American player in the world? Because I think when most people draw out their NBA rankings of the best players, right?
Yeah,
When they get to Jason Tatum, he's usually the top American on the list.
yeah,
Usually, okay,
yeah. Usually,
unless you have someone who has Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry, Anthony
hmm
Edwards above him. Most of the players above him on most lists that I've seen
hmm
are international. Guys
Fact.
like Joel Embiid, Cameroon, guys like Nikola Jokic, Serbia, guys like Greek Freak, Greece,
Yeah,
and guys like Shea, who's Canadian, right?
yeah.
And so at worst, I think most people have Jason Tatum as a top, I want to say 7, 8
hmm
player. He's usually still one of the top 2 American players at least.
Yeah.
Some people put Steph over him. I mean, I think most people don't. He's coming off an NBA championship in which he was not the Finals MVP. Personally, I
hmm
don't care. It was good for him. He sacrificed, and now he's coming off a Team USA gold medal. There's a narrative here that that Jason Tatum just won an NBA championship and a gold medal in the span of 2.5 months and is probably lost stature in the NBA Reddit
hmm
X community for all the sacrifices. And he was a great sport about both, by the way.
Yeah.
I think there's some sort of thing to be studied here about how much do we care about winning versus how much do we care about how you won. Because I
hmm
can tell you, Kevin Durant won 2 NBA championships, and I don't think it moved his legacy very much in anyone's eyes.
Yeah. I agree.
So, do we care about winning or do we care about stats? What the fuck do we care about?
I feel like, in my personal opinion, I do care about winning, but the way you win is also very important. That's arguably as close or on par with just winning in general. If you the way you win is better than just I just think both of them matter in my personal opinion. And with Tatum winning gold medal, sure he has a gold medal on his record, but he didn't really play that much. So a lot of people aren't going to give the credit for the gold medal of the USA team in general winning the gold medal to him. It's gonna be to other players like Curry, LeBron, this and that, because Tatum really didn't have the impact. But I see there's a super chat here, so if you wanna get into this one.
Yeah, Noble Venom saying, "What's your prediction for the 2028 USA team?" Well, okay, let's draw out Let's draw out a list. Okay, what's the roster? I mean, I got. Let's just go 1-1. Okay, so I'm gonna put my first pick, which is Scotty Barnes. Obviously, who's your
Hmm.
first pick? If you put Cade on this list, I'm booting you off this fucking thing. I'm just gonna tell you that. I know you're a Pistons fan, but if you put Cade on my team, USA team, you're getting booted.
I don't necessarily think Cade would fit in an international setting. That's me.
Okay, thank God. Okay,
I
I'm
think
just
it's gonna
kidding.
get better, but I don't think
I'm
he's
kidding.
actually
I'm
for.
kidding.
Yeah.
If you put Cade on the team, he can be an assistant coach.
All right, see that's crazy. Like that's insane, dude. Like, assistant coach,
He could be an assistant coach. He could be a head athletic trainer.
head
Head ath-
athletic trainer.
he does he win a gold medal if he's a head athletic trainer? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's crazy.
okay. I got Scotty. Who's your first pick for Team USA 2028? And assuming that LeBron James will be retired at that point and will not be coming back when
Yeah.
he's 43. But bro, he
Yeah.
might come back.
Shit.
He could come back
Yeah.
and
I
probably
got
still be the best player on the team.
facts. I got Anthony Edwards. I feel like he's gonna be fucking amazing when it's 2020. He's gonna be rolling through. He's gonna be amazing in the NBA. So I
Okay.
for sure got Anthony Edwards.
Okay. So my third pick will be JT, Jason Tatum.
Jason Tate. And I have a question. Do you think he will actually play more in 2028 Olympics if he does?
100%.
I agree. I agree. Shit, let me see. Yeah, Bronny. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say. I think. Well, is Paulo is registered for USA, right? He like is he
Yeah.
registered for US? I
Yeah.
wish
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
would have played for Italy, bro. See, like that. I wish he would have played for Italy. That would have been so fire.
I don't.
No.
No.
I think Paulo. I like Paulo a lot. Like I really like
Okay.
his game, and I feel like he would fit good in the
Okay.
Olympic team.
I'm gonna put okay. My fifth pick is gonna be a guy who's not in the NBA right now, which is AJ DeBonso.
Mm.
I'm putting AJ. I'm assuming he's gonna be a rising star by 2028. He'll be 3 years into his NBA career. He's on there. So far, just to recap, we got Scotty Barnes, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Paolo Banchero, AJ DeBonso. Who else we got? There's a couple of Tyrese's on the board right now. There's potentially a center, and then there's a very very hyped number 1 overall pick next year that's still on the table. There's Chet
Mhm.
Holmgren. There's a lot of guys. Who else we got?
Okay, so I'm gonna go with Lamelo Ball.
Crashing out, bro. LaMelo. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go with Chet next.
Chet, ooh, I'd like that. Yeah, Chet would go crazy. I'm gonna go with Jalen Brown. I think he'll play 2020. Yeah,
JB. Ugh.
yeah.
All right. If I'm coaching this team, I'm benching JB and LaMelo. Okay. I'm gonna go with Jaren Jackson Jr.
I like that pick. Jaren Jackson Jr. would go crazy. Let me think.
Okay. So far the roster is Scotty Barnes, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Paolo Banchero, AJ DeBasa, LaMelo, Chet, JB, and Jaren Jackson Jr. Note, we still got John Morant. We still got Jalen Brunson. We still got Bam Adebayo.
Yeah, my next pick is Bam. I was gonna go Bam next because I like
Okay.
that.
Yeah, that's the first pick you had that I really agree with, other than Ant. Okay, I'm gonna put. Let's see here. So I'm gonna put Maxi on here. I'm gonna put Maxi on here.
Maxi.
I think it's crazy that we don't have Hallie yet. But
Yeah, I'll go with Hallie next. I feel like Hallie would be very good for balance in the team.
okay, so I'm gonna tell you right now that LaMelo Ball heard about this roster and he's immediately out. But okay, I'm gonna put Kevin Durant.
I think Katie's how old is Katie gonna be when 2020?
38 or 39.
Shit, Katie probably still gonna be on Twitter by then.
Yep.
That
So
shit.
far we got Scotty, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, Paolo Banchero, AJ DeBasa, LaMelo Ball, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Brown, Jaren Jackson Jr., Bam Adebayo, Tyrese Maxey, Hallie, KD. We're already at 13. Okay, okay. Let's just make a 15-man roster, and then we'll hash it out. Like go 4 more, and then we'll sort out this
Yeah.
team. We'll put it on the screen, and then we'll sort it out.
Bet.
Does Evan Mobley get some consideration here?
I like Evan Mobley, but he just doesn't develop. Like I just want to see him like take an initiative and see an improvement in his game.
Cooper Flag.
Cooper Flag, I could see it, but I don't know. Because my next person would be Brunson. I like Brunson. Brunson. I'm a huge Brunson guy. Yeah,
okay. I'm gonna put Flag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what? Let's just keep going. Let's just keep up with the list, and then we'll sort it down to 12. Okay, go through some more lists. Go through some more names. Is Devin Booker on the list?
Yeah. I think Devin Booker could be there. Yeah, D-Book.
Okay. So we got Booker, D-Book. I will put. Okay, this is gonna be controversial as fuck, and I don't give a shit. I'm gonna put Cason Wallace on this.
Cason Wallace. Mm-hmm. I mean, I like Wallace. I think he'll develop, but
yeah.
You know what?
I'm gonna put Suggs too. I'm stealing 2 picks here. Okay.
Right. I'm gonna go with Mikal because I want Mikal Bridges. I want to see, because I feel like his size, defensive versatility would be needed in this team because we have a lot of guards. I'm not gonna lie.
Facts. Okay. Who else?
I would love to put Mobley for his size here. It's just he doesn't really develop, bro. Like I want to see him develop, but his size would be needed. But I don't know.
Okay.
Would you want to put Mobley in there?
We'll put Mobley in the conversation. Who else we got? We got.
Oh, your favorite player, Cade Cunningham. No, I'm joking.
Nope.
I would not put him on this team. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think.
Okay. So I'm gonna need like one more. Who am I missing here? J-Dub. I could put J-Dub on this. Mm-hmm. Who else?
Yeah, we haven't put John Morant here, but I don't know if he's gonna crash out in a few years. But yeah.
And put Zion here if he's healthy. Healthy Zion. Okay. So I'm gonna put this list on. Okay. Here's the list. And now we got to sort it out to who we're gonna pick here. So
how many people do we have to size it to, would you say?
Okay, so we got Scotty, Ant, Tatum, Paolo, AJ. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. You got a roster of 23. Mm-hmm. Okay. Gregory saying Joel. Gregory is trolling. Nope.
Joel Embiid is probably going to be with Cameroon, and then he's going to change to another national team. Shit, he might play for Antarctica fucking in 2028, bro.
He will never play for Antarctica. They don't have enough money. Okay. So in terms of guys that I really don't like on this list, obviously, I'm going to say one of Cason and Suggs is gone. Definitely Mikal or JB is probably gone. And I'm going to say, like, a lot of these guys, they don't want to be warming the bench. Mm-hmm. So I look at a guy like John Morant. We have a real logjam at point guard right now, right?
Yeah.
Who is the best point guard on this list in 4 years?
In 4 years? Let me just see. It's not LaMelo, in my opinion. I don't think LaMelo's going to be the best point guard.
I think it's Maxey.
I think it's Maxey. I'm between Maxey or Brunson. I feel like
Brunson in 4 years, bro. I think it's close right now.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, I'm not disrespecting Jalen Brunson. Mm-hmm. And I think he's a hell of a player.
What about Halliburton?
It might be tough.
People saying Halliburton. I feel like
Hallie's better than Tyrese Maxey. I don't think so. I'm sorry. I just do not agree with that. But that's cool. I mean, that's just where I'm at right now.
I feel like we should keep Maxey.
If you'd asked me 12 months ago, I would have said Halliburton was better. But right now, I'm like, I like Halliburton for the international game. He's a very smart player. He's very cerebral, right? Yeah. I guess it just depends on what kind of roster you're trying to run. Is Steph Curry on this list?
How old is he going to be? Probably.
He's going to be nearly 40, but his game is not predicated on anything, related to this. So I would see Steph and KD being like the elder statesmen of this team, right?
I feel like
So
yeah,
I
because they would add a valuable experience to guys like you, like Kason to Flag
yeah.
and like a
So
lot of that.
yeah, so in terms of the elder statesmen, Steph, Katie, Tatum, they would have the experience, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
So those would be the three guys with the experience.
Hmm.
And then in terms of like starters, heavy minute guys, I could see Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, Anthony for sure. I can see Maxi up there too for like a good amount of minutes.
Yeah,
Uh,
Ant, D Book.
Hallie's game for international like play would probably get him a good amount of minutes too, because he's a
But
very smart player.
let's get through the starters first. So Anthony Edwards, D Book.
Hmm.
Who else? Who is starting? If Anthony Edwards is starting with D Book, could one of them play point potentially, right? But maybe not. So we what is Team USA just going to be really small with Maxi, Ant, and D Book,
I mean,
or one of
okay.
those come off the bench?
I feel like all right. I have a question. So with size, we got Paulo, we got Jaren Jackson Jr., we got Bam for heavy and Mobley, but I don't think Mobley would have minutes
Anthony
to
Davis is 100% out. Yeah,
Anthony who?
Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis. He's just too injury. I like AD a lot though, but he's injury prone. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think this is it for AD. Okay,
Yeah.
so we put Bam on the list, right? So let's just put Bam up there with the ex champions who Bam, and I'm gonna put Jaren Jackson Jr. So to me, these are like the non-negotiables in terms of Steph, Bam, Jaren Jackson Jr., Katie,
Mhm.
Tatum, Ant, Book, Maxi, and then from there, I'm gonna say Scotty, just because I just I see where his career is going, and I just don't think that he's not going to be a top 10 player in 4 years. I think he might be a top 10 player as early as next year. So I think his rise is going to be epic for this team, and he fits really well with the international game. Everything that Jokic is doing right now, that's stuff that
Mhm.
Scotty would do also in the international game.
Yeah.
So Scotty, Paolo, I think is just going to be a really big star there. And then you look around the rest of this list. Chet is 100% on this list.
Yeah.
So to me, the non-negotiables are the guys that I just put right now, which is Steph, Bam, Jaren Jackson Jr., Katie, Tatum, Ant, Book, Maxi, Scotty, Paolo, Chet.
So those
And then
guys are not gonna be taken off the list. Sorry to interrupt, but like those guys are. You think we should just have them straight up there, and then
yeah,
we can talk about other.
I think they're first ballot Hall of Famers for this list is
Mhm.
my point, right? So
Mhm.
you put those guys on the list, and then from there you have the negotiations of okay, who wants to back up, who wants to whatever. So I'm pretty sure your starting lineup is somewhere in this list, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
so from there, you can say, okay, does Jalen Brown want to be on this team as a backup guard? I don't
No.
know.
No. I
Does
don't
he
think
want to be? Which one of Kason Wallace and Jalen Suggs is better at that point? I would bet money it's going to be Kason Wallace. Which and Cooper Flag and AJ DeBonso are the future of the USA program with Scotty, with guys like this. So I would put them on this list too. So it's something along this. So I mean, we don't have to get down to a 12-man roster and drag this out for an hour. I think this is roughly the idea.
Yeah.
So when I look at a team like this, and I think about Victor Wembanyama and what France basketball could be if Zachary Rissachet and some of their prospects pan out, right? Bilal Koulibaly, etc. Yeah, this team could be in a lot of trouble. Like I'm just going to be
Yeah. I'm not gonna
100%
lie.
with you. This team could be in a world of trouble if Wembanyama becomes the best player in the world. Because, bro, when I'm watching Wemby, he's flying around the court. Like he's just falling all over himself. He is nowhere near where he's going to be in 4 years. Like where this guy's going to be in 4 years, it's insane. It's what we were talking about yesterday. So to those of you who don't have any context, I don't really know your goat that well, other than we've played chess a few times and we've
And I
had some
beat him always.
conversations on the
Mhm.
and he's never beat me. So we've had some conversations off air about chess, but he's called in a bunch of times here. But yesterday we got to talking because of all the PC drama and all
Of
the
course.
stupid
Yeah.
shit that happened on
Mhm.
Oxford and all that stuff. Because your goat has been affiliated with Players Choice and stuff in that community,
Yeah.
especially. So he knows the players much better than I do, and I'm a newcomer in that community. So what we were talking yesterday was about Arvydas Sabonis, right? We were
Mhm.
talking about the greatness of Sabas, and the arguments against it are insane. What we are watching Wembanyama do, Sabonis was much better than this. Like much better than this. I'm being 100% honest and sincere when I say Arvydas Sabonis was much better. than Victor Wembanyama currently is, and we watched Victor Wembanyama dominate the NBA last year. So
Mhm.
I just think when you're 7'3" and you're coordinated and you can pass even reasonably well, and Sabonis was probably the greatest passing big man of all time, not named Nikola Jokic, and it's really
Mhm.
close. It's really close. So when you consider that, you consider the shooting. Like Wemby couldn't buy a three. He hit three today, but he couldn't buy a three prior to this game.
Mhm.
When you consider Sabonis shot 38% from three through international play, the concept of stopping this guy is non-negotiable. You
Yeah,
cannot stop
yeah.
what he can do.
It's gonna be tough. I'm not gonna lie. Like it's gonna be very tough to stop him. And if you build a very like if the French keep on developing their players and build around him, it's gonna be insane. Only problem to me with France is that their EuroLeague teams are very, very kind of uncompetitive over the last few years, which results into players like Yabusele, like let me think of some. Well, yeah, like Yabusele, they keep on exploring their French talent to other teams in the EuroLeague, which in
Mhm,
turn has been making the French team very weak. I'm not gonna lie, like a majority of good French players in the EuroLeague play for teams like Partizan, play for teams like Panathinaikos, for Real Madrid, for Fenerbahce at one point. So what's gonna happen? It's not necessarily a huge problem, but I would like to see the French teams in the EuroLeague grow more, keep some of their talent, and really start to be better with being more competitive in the EuroLeague. Because in terms of that, it creates better players. Like there's not a lot of French talent that are that's in the French league and in the French teams that are in the EuroLeague right now, which is, I think it's a problem. Because if you just keep on exporting to a point, it's just you're not going to have a lot of competition in the French leagues, and some teams are going to view that as a weakness, and it's a huge problem. It's kind of like with it's in football right now with the French league and
mhm.
in soccer too. They're kind of weak now. Like
Facts.
PSG has lost all of their talent. Monaco, like a lot of these teams in the French football league are weak. The same thing with basketball. So
Yeah, facts. Shout outs to Big Ox Media up in here. Ox
love
growing
you, big
like
ups.
crazy up
Actually, I was gonna
right
say,
now, and your goat knows Big Ox as well, I guess. Big Ox Bob. So shout outs to Ox,
shout out
and shout
Oxford.
outs to you for having me on the last two episodes of Ox Court and hashing out some shit with Legend of Winning and all
Know
that
your
stuff.
content.
Grow your content, bro. I think I started tuning into Ox when he was I want to say 2.4K subscribers, and I watched that Jalen Carter versus Emmett Till thing, and I was like, "Yo, this guy is doing some good work." I told my girlfriend about this. I was like, "Yo, he has this brilliant idea called the graveyard shift, where he is, doing this awesome thing." And I mean, a lot of people work overnight. A lot of people need that entertainment content, and it's like
Yeah.
you're growing your content when other people are sleeping. That's the
Mhm.
epitome of what Kevin Garnett used to say, which is work when other people are sleeping. And so it's great, and it was cool to be a part of a couple of episodes. I've been on four, I think 4 or 5 times now,
Mhm.
so it's cool. It was nice.
No, I mean,
It is squashed at this point. The legend of winning stuff has been squashed to some degree. I'm over it in my mind, and it
yeah.
is
So I
it's
mean, yeah. I mean,
yeah.
take that opportunity from to create more discussions and more well videos as you are going to do, which I'm looking forward to, and I think a lot of people are looking forward to seeing those videos. And shout out Ox, he's making great content. I told you in the call, it's very smart what he's doing. He's having beefs that are in this space in the NBA content space. There's a lot of beefs, so for him to have this content idea, bring these people to essentially hash it out. Is W content is peak, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie, it's lit. Like it's fantastic.
I mean, it is what it is. Like, I think people are naturally going to tune towards drama. You can run
Of
from it.
course.
You can say, nah, we shouldn't be talking about other people like this. But drama is drama. There's a reason why Jerry Springer was on the air for as long as it was. It's kind of funny to watch people lose their shit.
Mhm.
Maybe psychologically, it's a little bit comforting, especially if you're in a dysfunctional world, to watch
Mhm.
dysfunction on screen sometimes, right?
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
reality projects reality. So what I am thankful for, however, is when dysfunction, right, or something that I perceive to be largely dysfunctional as an entity can be used to further a good idea or a good cause. So, for
Mhm.
instance, that Jalen Carter versus Emmett Till thing, I think taught a lot of people about, hopefully, a lot of people about African American history, right?
Mhm.
I think there were some valid discussions there. I think a lot can be said about the Hawk girl, for instance, right? Right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
what that girl has done is become a viral sensation for something that is crass. But I also think if you actually see some of her other stuff, you're just like, she's just a really, really sweet person. She's not letting the fame get to her head. She's not, but people are tearing her down like crazy. And I'm just like, this girl seems really nice. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Like, she seems like a really nice person. It's nice to see somebody, so it's like, I like the happy ending where something, toxic becomes positive. It's
and
positive.
that's what a lot of these streamers do nowadays. For example, on a Kick or a Twitch, where they do a lot of these clip farming, where it's a lot toxicity and it's entertaining and it's a huge amount of viewership, and they turn that into changing their lives, their families' lives, making funny and entertaining streams. So that's what a lot of people do nowadays. They clip farm. It's a huge, huge, huge thing. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not saying what you and Lo did on Oxcore was clip farming, but you can make so many clips from that will in turn just be huge, because the back and forth, the arguments, the discussion about the specific topic was amazing. That's what a lot of people are doing now on stream, which is that's why I feel like content is growing a lot now.
Mm. Big Ox saying the thing about her was she wasn't even trying to go viral. Facts. That's exactly it, bro. And you know what I like about her? There was this interview that she had with Whitney Cummings, who's another, very polarizing comedian. And she I think she's FaceTiming this Matt Rife or whatever her favorite comedian crush.
I've seen that
And
clip.
she called herself a crack baby. She's like, "Yeah, my mom was a crackhead." I was like, "You know what? Own that.
Hmm.
Own it. It's great. It's great. If your mom really was addicted to crack, shit, own it." Like I like the fact that someone could say that with no shame. And she's 21 years old, bro. 21 years old, and to be to handle it that maturely. There was another clip that I watched of her where there was this someone who had, some negative shit to say about her, and the title of the video is "She Fires Back at So and So," and all she said was, "That's cool. He has an opinion." And I'm like, "Yo, I could learn from this. I could learn from this because I would feel the need to win that. If there's some because apparently the person had said, "Oh, people just be going viral for nothing, whatever. People, you don't even have to have talent to go viral," and that's the big claim against it, right? You need to
Hmm.
go. You don't need to have talent to go viral, and it's just like, bro. I think what it comes down to is very simple. It's that people want some like initially people build you up, right? Kevin Durant was the ultimate story of being built up, right? And people built him up into, he's better than LeBron. He's going to be better than this. He's going to be better than that. Is he better than this guy, that guy? They loved him with the Thunder, right? But then they made him a villain. They made him a caricature. And now they call him sensitive, emotional. I don't know if you caught what he said on X. Did you?
Um,
How he said toxic fandom. He was talking about fans and
no,
how
I
fans
didn't see
feel
that. No.
very
I don't have
fans
X.
who haven't really um frankly, fans who haven't really played the game
Hmm.
feel like they're a part of the game because they have an opinion about the game, right? And he's like, "Yo, this is a fraternity. Y'all not a part of this, right?" So my perspective on this is, I think he's right. He's right to say, like, I think fans have a right to have an opinion about basketball, which is,
Of
that's
course.
that's the business of the sport. If no one's watching, who the hell, how are you getting paid 40-50 million dollars? That's fair. But it's also fair that Katie does not have to care what fans and experts and the media think about his choices. And I think
Hmm.
so some people say it's sensitive, but I've talked to a lot of people who know Kevin Durant or have known Kevin Durant at some point, and the things they say about him off the court are always consistent with he's just a great person,
Yeah, and
right?
I mean, yeah,
He's always shown love to the next generation. He's not petty, he's not salty, he's not a bad dude. He doesn't tear down his teammates. He frankly, he's a good teammate, he's a good sport. He's always been good in loss, he's been good in wins. He keeps it real. He keeps it real, and I'm just like, "You know what? I'm just realizing." I was thinking about this the other day, because I was thinking about the lunacy of the last 5 days, which you are more aware of than perhaps other
of
people in this
course.
chat.
Hmm.
But I was thinking about like how many people were writing some negative shit in the chat, and I was like reading some of the stuff about me, and I was just like, bro, like how are these people coming to these conclusions? And what I thought about was if you tried to reason with at a Trump rally,
Hmm.
what would they say about you? It does matter what room you're in when it comes to the feedback that you're getting. If you try to reason with a whole bunch of people who believe in white supremacy and talk to them about ethics and morals and values and diversity, they'd be like,
Hmm.
"You're fucking stupid." Of course, because that's their worldview.
That's the room
So,
you're in. Yeah.
so it does matter what room you're standing in, and if you consistently get distorted feedback, I think you're just standing in the wrong room.
Hmm.
That's just sort of the perspective on it.
And,
Anyways,
and one thing, and just real quick, one thing you said about like with a lot of these athletes that get built up and then destroyed. I, because I live in Mexico, right?
mhm,
The reason why we're so bad now in Mexican football and soccer is because we do the same thing to the media. I'm gonna tell just a quick story about a player that I personally witnessed play in real life. His name is Diego Lainez. He started when he was 16 years old. People
okay,
were calling him the next Hugo Sanchez, which is one of our best players, and he's the best Mexican player in history. People were calling him the Mexican Lionel Messi, comparing him to Neymar. He wasn't as good as them, but he was so good in the Mexican league. I watched him one time come over here to my city. He scored a goal, was passing through everyone. He started to play in the national team. He went to Spain to play after. He was, I think, around 18 years old. He went to
mhm,
Spain, played for Betis, which is a very good Spanish team. The coach and him had a lot of disagreements. His play on field was talent. You could see talent, but he wasn't really showcase like he wasn't really playing that well as he did in the Mexican league. As soon as that happened, Mexico called him a failure. They didn't want him back. They were saying that he's ruining the reputation of the country. Eventually, it all culminated and he didn't want to play football anymore. He was mentally broken. He started getting transferred to Ajax to other countries like this. He could never really make a name for himself, and he was like, you know what? Let me rebuild my legacy and come back to Mexico. He came
mhm,
back to Mexico. Everyone's still hating on him. Everyone's calling him the villain. He can't even start anymore because of the agenda in Mexico. So that's what happens to a lot of these athletes who are so hyped up, and when they underperform one time, boom, it's over for them.
mm. I hear that. Anyways, thanks a lot for calling in, Yurgo. Appreciate it
Thanks for
as
that, bro.
always. Good conversation, man.
It was a
Peace.
great conversation, and hey,
Peace,
if
man.
let me know if you want to play chess, so I can beat you whenever I'm free.
I appreciate that losing this many times hasn't broken your spirit. All right, peace,
I
man.
never lose, I just tie. But all right, see you. Have a great
Yeah,
stream.
yeah. Okay, so we got to talk about Cooper Flag. We got to talk about the hyping of prospects. We got to talk about the pressure that we put on these young athletes, and we really got to talk about the reality of the situation, because the reality of the situation is when I tell you that Caitlin Clark is the great white hope, I'm generating media buzz. I'm generating business. I'm generating ad clicks. Y'all really think Caitlin Clark is better than Asia Wilson? Be for real. You watch basketball? You really think that? You watched her play and you think that? I don't think that. But there's a world of population, there's a world of people out there that if you say jack shit about Caitlin Clark or Cooper Flag, right, two white American players, you're gonna catch a lot of hate in your comments. You will absolutely catch a lot of hate in your comments. So let's be let's be real about who these players are, right? These talent evaluators are not put on trial when they're wrong, and they're wrong all the time. They're wrong all the time. It's insane to me, right? Sports, in my humble opinion, becomes a way for people to outlet, and it has always been this way. This is the oldest truth of life itself. Sports is a way for people to further, or talking about sports is sometimes a civilized way for people to further their cause. When a white dude from Iowa in the 1980s tells you he hates the Lakers, he's telling you something about himself without realizing he's telling you something about himself. He doesn't know why he hates the Lakers, but he knows he loves the Celtics. These things are not always racial sometimes. We might be venting our own frustrations about our life through sports. We might be venting our frustrations When people tell you that the WNBA is a trash product and ain't no one getting these women would get exposed and blah blah blah. There's high school boys who can beat the top WNBA stars. When someone tells you that there's a high school kid who's not very good who can beat Asia Wilson, they're telling you something about themselves. They're frustrated with the gender parity or lack of parity in the or parity in growing gender parity in their life. Maybe they got passed up by a woman for a promotion that they in their, hyper sexist mind believe that they deserved because they grew up that way, right? When someone tells you that these euros are soft, what are they really trying to tell you? What they're really trying to tell you is, you know, that they're probably a little bit xenophobic, right? People use music, art, culture, all sorts of things to vent about their real life problems about other things. So when an athlete like Cooper Flag or when an athlete like Caitlin Clark generates the type of toxic following that they do, what an athlete like LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, any one of these people, any any excessive level of fandom can be, in my opinion, extremely toxic. Extremely toxic. Caitlin Clark did not ask to be the great white hope. She just hooped. That's her trying to do what she does. Was she didn't sign up for this shit. Cooper Flag did not ask to be the great white hope. Larry Bird certainly did not ask to be the great white hope. There just happens to be a lot of racist people in the world who see these guys and rooting for them as a means of feeling good about themselves. Because when you're a white guy in Iowa, I keep picking on Iowa, we can pick on any other friggin' place on earth in Memphis, Tennessee, whatever, who gets passed up for a promotion by a black guy, somehow in your twisted mind, watching Luka Doncic beat Devin Booker feels like a win. That's the weirdness to me. But Luka Doncic certainly not supporting that. Larry Bird certainly wasn't supporting that. Caitlin Clark certainly is not supporting that. I don't think Caitlin Clark has a racist bone in her body. I don't think she's supporting that. But it's crazy to me how that happens. But the hype gets too big. It gets big because it generates clicks. Click, 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 click. Greatest player since Michael Jordan. Click, click, click. Kobe Bryant's the next Michael Jordan. Vince Carter's the next Michael Jordan. Penny Hardaway's the next Michael Jordan. Grant Hill's the next Michael Jordan. My God, those are the ones who were good. Y'all remember the ones that were bad? Deshaun Stevenson comparison, Michael Jordan. Lord help me. Mikael Petrus comparison, Michael Jordan. Who writes this shit? But in the end, you do this so that you can do the other thing, right? You do this to generate the hype on the way up. What I say, it's the same old tactic we used at the hedge fund, which is pump and dump. Pump up a stock, it's the next best thing, it's the next best thing, and then you dump it and say it's corrupt, it's terrible, this product's not going nowhere. But who makes money on the way up is the same person who makes money on the way down. Those are the people that are controlling your narratives. What I'm trying to say is this: watch basketball for yourself and determine for yourself if you think Cooper Flag's better than AJ DeBasa. I don't. But I know one of these guys is going to be way more hyped than the other. And if I'm wrong in 5 years, tell me I'm wrong. Guess what? I'm going to take the L. I'll take the L on it. I don't think Cade was that great. I just don't. I'm sorry. I'm watching basketball for myself and I'm like, God damn it. I don't see a first overall pick. I don't see the next Luka Doncic. I don't see anything these guys are talking about. I'm watching his tape. I just don't get it. Why? Why do we do this? What is it about this type of player that we want to just elevate? Well, watch the articles 5 years from now when they come out and they're tearing him down and saying, oh, he's the reason Detroit basketball hasn't been good. It just generates clicks both ways. That's what it is. I think Kevin Durant is right. Personally, I think he's right. I think Kevin Durant is a very solid human being, and I think that he is right about NBA fandom, NBA media, NBA toxic culture, all of it. I think he's right. The Dr. Carpi I hope I'm saying that correctly. They use European players the same as buffer group immigrants. It's anti-blackness. Sure, sure, absolutely. There's a lot of people, bro. There's nothing positive that I can say. Look, I root for Nikola Jokic because he's from my country and he plays a brand of basketball that I love. I did not root for Vlade Divac this way. Never once. You never heard me say Vlade Divac was the best player in the world. I just no. No, I don't care personally. I care about like if Vlade Divac was going up against Rasheed Wallace. I gotta be honest. I'm taking Sheed. It doesn't matter. This identity stuff is just it's weird to me personally. It is a little weird. It's cool to feel proud of a player because he's from a place. But how many times have I made a positive video about Nikola Jokic being a good family guy? Because he is a good family guy. He cares about his family. He cares about his kid. He cares about his wife. It's a great example. But then we got like 50 people in the comments saying, yes, that's a good representation of white Christian values. And I got to fucking delete all those stupid ass comments. Again, it's people projecting their agendas through sports. And I understand it. I get it. As long as we're all clear that that's what we're doing. Right. So when a player gets big, like when they get famous, we're rooting on them. We're rooting on them, because they're underrated and we're trying to get them up, 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 right? But the more adoration, the more adulation, the more support you generate, the more hatred you get. So how do you deal with it if you're an athlete? How do you deal with it if you're do you do what Kevin Durant does, where you wake up at 5 a.m. and choose violence on Twitter? I don't know. Or do you do what LeBron does? Passive aggressive jabs through the media. Do you do that? I don't have an answer for this. But what I can say is this to anyone who has faced online backlash or whatever, it's not about you. It's almost never about you. People calling you retarded, people calling you stupid, people calling you dumb, people calling you whatever, people calling you washed, people calling you overrated, people calling you a ring chaser, all that stuff. I don't think it's that serious. I really don't. It's just people, like sometimes you got to look at the people who are talking, man. You really do. Like, what are they doing in their lives? The same person who cheated on his wife 5,000 times is probably out there writing an angry post about how Kobe Bryant cheated on Vanessa Bryant. It just makes him feel good. I don't know why it makes you feel good. It's probably because you're not square with yourself because you haven't touched the Bible. I don't understand it personally. I don't get it. Like, how can you be so hypocritical? I have not been to the gym in close to damn near 3 weeks. I'm skipping on my gym routine, and I don't like it. I'm certainly not making a post about someone being, skipping on their gym routine. It's just weird. It seems hypocritical. How much defense does Luka play? 0. Yet he's been compared to MJ, who dominated on both sides of the court. It's all black achievements. It's all about black achievement erasure. Okay. Is Luka a better passer than Michael Jordan? Yes. Has Luka achieved a lot of basketball success? Yes, he has. Luka's a phenomenal player. He's not Michael Jordan. He's not LeBron James. LeBron was a really good defender when he was early. He's got ways to clear before he gets there. I'm not sure it's about black erasure. I'm gonna be honest. Like I don't think white Americans rate white Europeans the way you think they do. I don't think so. Because if that were the case, then teams would have been willing to build around an Arvydas Sabonis or a Drazen Petrovic or a Tony Kukoc way back when. They were not. They were not because as much as they may look the same, they're not the same, right? Steve Nash still gets called a Canadian. It's the American thing is it's very American. To conclude on this, I want to talk about AAU basketball culture in the United States. What the NIL means for the NCAA, this idea of growing up playing basketball as a super hyped, 13, 14, 15-year-old, and basically the pressure that it puts on a person who isn't prepared for that, especially if they are in fact overrated as a prospect and how much of a target it puts on their back and the pressure to live up to something that you cannot live up to. Basketball has been taught, in my opinion, in a better way across the world. I flashed this earlier, and that we need to get out of this US centric way of thinking about everything, because that's what happens when you dominate culture, you dominate movies, and you set them all in LA and New York. When you dominate music, when you dominate sports, right? Is you get say over what grows, what becomes popular, right? That's why wins like Novak Djokovic and Nikola Jokic are so significant, because it's a very small country that does not have a large say. That's why South Sudan doing what they did was such a huge thing, because it's not a black and white issue necessarily. On the grand scheme of things, it's a money issue. It's a wealth and disparity of wealth issue. It's a disparity of influence issue. It's a distortion of reality issue, where you start to think that because a movie is produced in the United States or North America, or because it's in English, that it's better than a movie that's produced in Iran because that's Iranian. Not the case. You think that because an athlete did something in the United States, it must be significantly better than the athlete who did the same thing in India. It depends on the sport, bro. It depends on the sport. The world is very large. That's a very uncomfortable thought for people to have. I think most people live their life on autopilot. So I will share, to end this live, the secret of life with you, which one of my favorite content creators shared on a live stream a couple of days ago. Shout out to T1J. So, the secret of life, apart from be yourself, is to extend yourself outside your comfort zone and not be afraid of doing things where you look foolish and bad, right? I think that it is very important to go beyond your comfort zone and really not be afraid to look stupid, not be afraid to be bad at things. I think that's generally the secret of life. I think it's also very, very good to explore your blind spots. I think it would be a phenomenal thing for all North Americans to understand that the rest of the world is much bigger than North America. Sum total, the population of Africa is greater than the population of North America. Sum total, the landmass of Africa is bigger than the landmass of North America. Unfortunately, for most of us, we grew up thinking North America was the center of everything. We are here, they are there, and I don't think that that's fair. There are people who walk the streets of Luxembourg, Sweden, Netherlands, who have a completely different set of idols, different set of movie stars that they follow. And the question that I would ask to anybody is, before you say what you do is better than what they do, have you seen both? Don't automatically assume that your way is right. Don't automatically assume. And I think that the beautiful thing about a lot of European coaches, specifically ones that I've followed, is they're always learning. They're always borrowing. They're always trying to figure out what they're doing in South America. They're always trying to figure out, what are they doing in Africa? What are they doing in Asia? What are they doing in North America? What are they doing in America that's right? And what are we doing that's right? And then they synthesize it. You know, one of the key differences between how we play basketball at the youth level in the United States or in North America in general is we play a lot of games. We like a lot of games. Okay. Because games are what sells, right? We sell the product very well here. And the games do sell. They generate revenue because there's a door sometimes for those games. They generate mixtapes and stuff like that. But what are they doing in Europe that's better, in my opinion, is they're not playing as many games. They're doing a lot of skill work. They're doing a lot of 3-on-3. They're doing a lot of 2-on-2. They're doing a lot of simulations. They're doing a lot of athletic training, skills training. And so when you get to these competitions, like the FIBA competitions, you really do start to see. Now, here's a question for y'all. Would the Boston Celtics have beat Team France, Team Serbia? Would they have beat them? If this USA team beat South Sudan by 1, needed the refs, in my opinion, to cheat Serbia out of gold, and was within 3 against Team France not playing Rudy Gobert, Do you really think that the Boston Celtics are the best team in the world? Or are there national teams out there? Are there international teams out there, like powerhouse teams in Europe that in a 7-game series could beat certain NBA teams? If you put the Washington Wizards against Real Madrid, you really think the Washington Wizards with Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, you think the overwhelming amount of American talent is so great? And here's the crazy part. You're about to go into a league expansion. The pool is about to get more diluted. More jobs are about to open up. Africa is growing. I talked about it in the last video with Joe Tuamu. Right now, the NBA is 10% Africa, which is to say African born players and players whose parents, one of the two parents was born in Africa, teams of players like Giannis Antetokounmpo, OG Anunoby, Precious Achua, guys like this, right? Victor Wembanyama, all of them have one parent at least that was born in Africa. So the question is, where does that number grow in 20 years? Well, Joe estimated 25%, 30%. So did I. So if that's 30%, and we can say European players will be about 25%, American players will be a minority in the NBA very soon. Very soon. And at that point, I think 2028, I believe the Olympics are happening in LA in 2028. It is possible LeBron will play on that team, especially since they are happening in LA. It is very possible. It's very possible that Team USA will not win gold in 2028 unless something very, very right happens for their program. I want to reiterate, they will be favored to win gold in 2028, 2032, 2036, 2040, 2044. They're going to be favored to win gold in all those tournaments in my opinion, because the overwhelming talent is insane. But the gap is shrinking. And in a single game, anything could happen. So I'll reiterate. The Dr. Carpy saying the Americans didn't take the best team. They left Jaylen Brown off. You can argue all day that Jaylen Brown is a better player than Derek White. I'll agree with you. Point is, if Jason Tatum's a better player than Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum didn't play, what does that tell you about Jaylen Brown? Mike Eva saying, compare Canada versus USA times 100 relay teams. The US individual runners win head-to-head across the board, first through fourth members. The Canadians won gold despite none of the four even qualifying individual. Yup. And that was a big moment for sure, especially given the pre-match context of that. Billy saying Serbia versus USA was the real gold medal match. Yeah, man. Respect to France. I think France should have. In my mind, Serbia won gold, USA won silver. In my opinion, France won bronze. I really think that. I don't really care if anyone else wants to disagree with me. I will never tell otherwise. I will never think otherwise. I know what a screw job looks like. Okay. I do know what a screw job looks like. 2001 NBA Western Conference Finals was a screw job. Blazers. 2000 Sacramento Kings, the 2002 Sacramento Kings Lakers series, that was a screw job. I know what a screw job looks like. I know what biased refereeing looks like. Third quarter, fourth quarter, USA Serbia was an absolute screw job. Look at those referees. Look at where they're from. Look at their backgrounds. Look at who they are, who they're refereeing against. Watch the game for yourselves. Watch the game for yourselves and tell me it wasn't a fucking screw job. And I resent this concept that, oh my God, it took all of Team America to stop, Nikola Jokic. No, man. Team Serbia is underrated as fuck. They had some really good players. There's some really great EuroLeague players on that team. It was a well-coached team with a excellent game strategy that they had been hiding pretty much the entire tournament. And I think, if we were to sum up 10 major lessons we learned during this entire, fiasco of the Olympics in Paris, I'll tell you one major thing we learned is that Nikola Jokic plays a hell of a lot harder for Team Serbia than he does for Team Denver. Anyways, to those of y'all who watched this all the way through, I appreciate you. Please hit like on your way out. I will appreciate that as well. I am currently working on a Sabonis video and a Scotty Barnes video, so those will be out in this month. And these videos take a lot of time. especially if you edit them well. Legend of Winning challenged me to, he said, "Why don't you make the Sabonis video?" Well, I'll make the Sabonis video. That's cool. Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be a great video. I think overall, to close the chapter on the bullshit drama of the last 5 to 6 days, spent a lot of time, including an 8-hour stream, which I was on for I think 6 hours. There was a 4-hour stream. There was a 1.5 hour reaction stream, which I did on this channel. It's a lot of drama. It's a lot of bullshit. I got to say, I walked away from it thinking a lot of things. Number one, I thought grow or die, right? That's always been my mentality. Grow or die. If you suffer if you suffer an uncomfortable situation or an uncomfortable outcome, you will either grow or die from that situation. I think most of us do not try to extend outside of what we think are comfortable situations. Going into a situation where you have 1,000 people in the chat against you and you're going up against a master manipulator in that situation where you are very likely to lose is uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable situation. Hopefully, it hones you up to grow. It points to your weaknesses. You will never find your weaknesses if all you do in life is swim in a bathtub. You will never figure out if you can swim ever. You need to go out into the ocean and test it, bro. You need to. And you need to be comfortable with the idea of drowning a little bit. You need to be comfortable with the fact that the worst that's going to happen is you're going to have yourself tested. I think more people would have better lives if they tested themselves. I see too many people living in their comfort zones. I certainly in areas of my life where I've been very deeply unhappy with how that year went. I've become very comfortable with like, okay, this is what I want to do because I'm good at it, and this is what I want to do. Blah, blah, blah. But then sometimes someone says, "Hey, you want to go do this?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to do that." But you say, "Nah, I don't want to do that." What you're really saying is, "Nah, I'm afraid I'm going to be bad at it." So don't be afraid to be bad at things. It's never that serious. Don't be afraid to take an L. It's cool. Try swimming in Lake Ontario. It's nice. Oof. I have. It's very disgusting. It's very disgusting. It's like in terms of pollution, it's very bad. I remember a long time ago we went into Lake Ontario to swim. It was not great. Why can't Raps trade Brown for Bogey? Mm, yeah, because I mean, I'm not sure they can't. I'm not sure they can't. Anyways, the stream was probably a little all over the place. My takeaway point of this is I think Canada has a chance in the future. Hopefully Zach Edey plays and their big rotation can be shored up and Leonard Miller turns into something special. And I don't know if some 14, 15-year-old that I'm not aware of right now in the youth level just pops, for Team Canada and they can bring them to the Olympics in 2028. But, it would be a shame to waste Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's prime. It's not a guarantee. Ask Slovenia how long they've waited for a top 5 player in the world to be born into their country. Ask Serbia how many years they've waited for a top 5 player. Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic are the greatest players in their country's histories. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, in my opinion, is a better player than Steve Nash, and I think he's the greatest player in Canadian history. It would suck to waste that level of greatness in its prime, right? Because Jokic will be in his prime in 4 years. Mm, he'll be probably close to his prime. He'll be probably exiting his prime. I don't know. He'll still be a really good player in 4 years. Touch wood. And so will Doncic. So will Wemby. And so will Giannis. Hopefully, right? So will Embiid. Hopefully for Cameroon. If he's playing for Cameroon or France, I don't know who's going to be playing for. So the world is rising. Stars are rising everywhere. Now we just need supporting casts that can, carry them through. Congrats to all the athletes. I think to anyone who's ever played sports on any level, you know how hard it was. If you ever were around a really great athlete, you know what it took. Like, I hope you know what it took. I was around a lot of great athletes. I don't consider myself a great athlete at all, right? I would say my best sport was probably tennis, but I don't consider myself a great athlete at all. I know way too many great athletes to ever call myself a great athlete, but I know the work that went in from great athletes. 6 hours a day, 6 hours a day in the burning sun, the craziness the level of discipline, the diet, the commitment to all of it. Respect all these athletes, whether you won gold, won silver, won bronze, whatever. all of it. It's unfortunate when, you know, everything becomes all about winning when really it is about competition. This entire tournament was about competition. I hope that it was inspiring to all of us. Congrats to the countries that, placed, and, shout outs to the countries that didn't. Shout outs to the countries that brought 4 athletes, 2 athletes, those small countries, when we were watching the opening ceremonies. Shout outs to the countries that brought 100, 200, 400 athletes. The world is growing, it's getting bigger, and, just remember this. All right, peace. Talk to y'all later.